over the Christ, He changed my life, and now I'm finally free. Yeah. Don't have to carry no more weight up on my shoulders. Now I'm finally free. Finally, oh yeah. People talk that what they do and what they say can't stop my moves. Let me say a thing or two about what God can do for you. I know He did it for me. I know that He'll do it for you, because I am living proof of what my God can do for you. People change, but my God won't change. I weather the storm with a smile on my face. Singing hallelujah, it's the higher praise. Lord, I want to thank You for another year. I've been changed. The angels in heaven done shine my name. Gave my life to Christ, and now I'm finally free. Anything I need, my God provides for me. I just want to thank You, God, for loving me, taking care of me and my family. He took the shackles off my feet, now I can dance, and now I'm finally free, finally free. This was for the people in the world who believe in Jesus, believe in Jesus. He took the shackles off my feet, now I can dance, and now I'm finally free, I'm finally free. This was for the people in the world who believe in Jesus. I'm feeling good, I got the monkey on my back, and now I'm finally free. I gave my life over to Christ, He changed my life, and now I'm finally free.
Ooh, I love that.
I know that's right. That's my man, Tony Amari out of Raleigh, North Carolina, man. We're finally free, man. Gospel, inspirational, Southern soul, R&B, he does it all. A real good divine brother, and a purpose to inspire people through his art form of music. So salute to him.
Yes.
No doubt. So welcome back. Another Star-Studded episode edition of the Chatterbox with King Jacob. I'm your host, King Jacob. And, you know, this evening we're going to be talking about business developments, community developments, political issues, and educational, things as far as new programs, the STEM program, as well as we're going to be talking about community zoning, school zoning, city zoning. And so I have none other with me on tonight than Miss Shayna Boston, which she provides all those titles. You know, she's a business developer, community organizer. She's running for Senate, and she also is a public figure, a person of purpose, power, and passion to inspire others to make an impact on the world, as well as she makes an impact herself. So welcome.
Thank you, King Jacob. Thank you.
You're definitely welcome. You're definitely welcome. So before we get into your story, you know, it's like the Inquirer, it's like, you know, Jet, Ebony. So inquiring minds might want to know, who is Shayna Boston?
She's so many things. I'm definitely like an onion. But what's cool about me is I think I've been committed and consistent of who I am. I'm very committed to my passions and, you know, loving what I do. And since a young child, it used to be teaching, but then it developed into teaching differently. Became, I want to be, you know, an event planner, became an event planner, went to school, like I said, to be a teacher, but things didn't work out when I first initially went in. So I left Clark Atlanta, but before I left Clark Atlanta, I was already tapped with a certification on being a certified wedding planner. So I began in 2002 to start finding a way of make one, which is Clark Atlanta University's motto. So went into that and then developed into the administrative world, working with temp services and things of that nature. I had already had that background working with my father. He was an entrepreneur, had his own insurance agency. So I was his secretary at one point. But then that morphed into working with Fortune 500 companies, small businesses, large businesses, Black-owned universities, through my matriculation at Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. But then I started my own business doing the exact same thing, but serving and supporting small business owners virtually. And I moved to South Carolina, and that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. There, I was able to work at Benedict College, and I met some of the most amazing people who became my mentors, who were, part of the political arena, educational arena, music, and television. So it was just like, for me, a Black person's paradise to kind of meet with people who were doing the things that I love and who could, massage my talents and give me advice and mentor me to do these different things. Now I'm a Scorpio, so I'm already, vexed with an imagination and ways that I can, like Clark did, help find a way of make one. And I became engulfed into some of the things that I was tapped into when I was younger. I knew I wanted to be a part of public service in middle school. I was the 7th grade mayor. We had an amazing curriculum at that time to where it was important that the students understood local government. So part of that was being able to understand, what does a mayor do? What type of powers come with that? Or what does the city council do? So it never left me. And so when I moved back to Swainsboro in 2020, 17, I said, hey, I'm going to run for mayor. And I did. I didn't win, but it was such an eye-opening experience by learning who people are, how they really treat you, and then also getting people out to vote. That is a hard thing to do. Getting people to understand how, your vote really matters, and more so on a local scale. But that didn't stop me. I then began to start my nonprofit, Fearlessly for People of Emanuel County, because we have a huge issue with succession. Who's going to be the next person? Who's going to be the next mayor? Who's going to be the next person that sits on these boards or running for these particular offices? Nobody's passing the baton. So I took it upon myself, using my teaching skills that I already had and training up the next leaders of tomorrow. And so since I'm now running for state senate, that is expanded. So I've expanded not only Emanuel County, but District 23. That's 11 beautiful counties that we can all one day band together to build up who's going to be our next leaders. How we're going to work together as this economy changes. Down here in I-16, we got 8,100 jobs coming from in Bryan County, 550 jobs in Metter. These are all towns and surrounded around these 11 counties I'm telling you about. So I want to make sure that we are positioned to win. And you need someone that's creative, invigorating, bold, someone who doesn't mind asking a question. And I've heard no before. So my story has been a lot of no's, but me still moving forward regardless of those no's, because I believe there is a charge on my life, and that is to get to a position so that we can help all people over politics. Who cares about a party at the end of the day? We just unfortunately have to declare one. So King, my job is to be a change agent, a servant leader, do what I can to be the example to bring about change in this district. So that's kind of who I am. I hope I went 2 or 3 different ways on explaining it and digging a little deeper on some other things you might ask.
Yeah, you definitely gave a full synopsis on different levels, and I would just want to say, I would have to say, when you were in Columbia, South Carolina, we did cross paths, and I want to say shout out to Raquel Thomas for introducing us.
Yes.
Yes,
And
yes.
she's still one of my best friends today. You know her, entrepreneur, go getter. She, is also a Scorpio. We don't play. When we see something, we go after it, regardless of what's standing in our way.
Right. So now, when it comes to you starting this administrative virtual type company, and you working with multiple companies, you're out there in Columbia, you're at Benedict. So what was the passion and what was the inspiration to help you and to to start this for yourself? And just want to be very clear and ask this: you did work with your daddy in the insurance industry, right? And so upon you getting your own company started, what type of conversations did you and your dad have? Because it was so much mentorship with working with your father. And so what was those conversations with him when you want to become a full-time entrepreneur?
Well, a lot of you know what? We didn't have a whole lot of conversations about it. He kind of led by example, if that makes sense. So, not to mention, of course, we had conversations, but I kind of went off of his moves, but I try to make my moves better. But we were in different industries, and he would often tell me the story how his dad didn't realize, how are you making money? How does this work? And this and that. But I see that, your lifestyle is showing for that. And he did the same thing to me. He didn't understand what the virtual world meant. Like, what you mean you want your assistant and they live in Colombia? It's exactly that. I'm able to do those things. So as the world evolves, as I evolve as an executive assistant, we well versed in um, virtual communication and different ways of doing. So he would always tell me, I forgot one of the main things. You kill what you eat, what you kill. That's what you live by, right? And so I had to interpret that, what that looked like for me. So he is a Leo dominant male. I've seen him posture my entire life of how to carry yourself, how when people talk about you, you move forward, you're gonna do what you need to do for yourself and your family anyway. So a lot of his traits are me, and so I kind of engulfed that into my business. And of course, yeah, we had these different conversations about ways of working, but he really couldn't give me anything application wise because he didn't know, about the industry. But as a surface, as an entrepreneur, as a boss, there's a certain mentality you have to have. There's a certain presence you have to have. So he taught me all of, you got to look good, you got to sound good, you got to, be willing, to be, told no and still move forward, because it's whatever you kill, that's what you're going to eat. So that drove me to be more successful, to keep lining up multiple streams of income when one of those incomes didn't work. So he definitely taught me how to kind of see the glass as refillable, not half full.
Okay, okay, great, great, great. Interesting. So we have Kimmy K of the Village Global Network tapping in with us. She is the operational director of the Village Global Network, and thank you for tapping in.
Hey,
So,
Kimmy.
so man, I just remember me getting the email back when you was in Columbia, and somebody was like, "You know who that is?" I was like, "Sure." It was like, she that deal. She just came and took over the city like it was nothing. I was like, what all do she do? And they was like, what don't she do? And I was like, when you say administrative and executive assistant, and you know, I instantly thought of law firm legal secretary.
I do that too.
Because when I lived in Washington D.C., I was a law clerk, and I used to work with a lot of paralegals and legal secretaries. And so when they said executive assistant, I was like, legal secretary, you know. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that she's tapped in and worked with a lot of different lawyers as well. And
Absolutely. Senator Tamika Isaac Devine, for one. She's definitely one. And Judge Abigail Rogers. So they definitely gave me some of that background as well. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I was able to tap into so many different industries, which has made me such a well-rounded person, I believe. Because you have to be compassionate in the law firm. You also have to you understand when they have a death in the family and probate papers have to be filed. So, and being the gatekeeper, understanding, protecting my client from, their client or customers that's trying to bombard them with different things. So, my experience has been vast with dealing with people on different levels. So, you're exactly right. I've had that blessing and that privilege to tap into different areas with the being an executive assistant that's a gatekeeper.
okay, okay, great. And we have Miss Angela
Yeah,
tapping
that's
in.
my cousin. Hey,
Okay,
Tan.
okay, okay. Thank you for tapping in, and greetings to you. So, from that perspective, a virtual business, getting people together, keeping their schedule, setting up appointments and things of that nature. Um, how does that keep you disciplined mentally? Keep you well organized because you're organizing for everybody else, but you yourself. How do you prioritize to organized for you once you get through doing something for everybody else?
And you know what? I'm still working on that. It's hard to really do for yourself when you're so used to doing for others. And I'm finding out that I have to make me and my schedule, my things from personally a priority. Trust me. I have significant other in my life. I have a child. I have a family, and learning how to, like Tamika would say, we don't balance it. We integrate. There's no such thing as balancing life, work. Is that's unconceivable. But to be able to integrate it, and being a virtual assistant has allowed me to do a lot of that. My son, he's in a different sport, so having to travel, being able to be off, but also being able to have the money that you need in order for him to be successful. So having a strong support system like I do in my family, my mom, my sister, um, my friends, and people who are part of my team, I've had to learn to delegate too. And it's hard because I'm used to handling things. I'm the handler. That's one of my hashtags, the behind the scenes queen. So in this process and running for Senate, I've had to learn to delegate and let others help me. So because I'm used to being in control. So that's what I'm doing. So scheduling has been very important. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. So making sure that I'm adhering to the same rules and tools that I give my clients. So I'm working on it, King. I'm really working on being and letting people take care of me as I need it. So it's something that I'm definitely working through and trying to get better at.
Okay, great. So, what piques your interest as far as what grabs your attention about when somebody sends you a resume and says, "I would love to be a part of your team if you would be so kind to give me the opportunity." So, what piques your interest about a person? Besides their work history, what else grabs your attention?
Probably their movement, because outside of paperwork, people lie on paper. It's easy to lie on paper. So I like to let my work speak for me, which is why I post all the time. Now, everybody's not like me, want to be, not saying I want to be out there, but I like for, if you got a question about what Shayna's capabilities are, what she's doing, or where she is, you can find her online, or you can look at her website. So someone that want to work for me, even the people that I mentor, I need to see how they move, because or I can try and teach that, because some things you can't teach. It's got to be in you. So for like an executive assistant or someone that wants to work in events, there's got to be something innate in you. And I have to do that by talking and finding out more about you, how you move. Are you a person of your word? Are you going to do what you say you're going to do? So for me, it's going to be, having that conversation with them, having conversations like we're having right now, because this is real life. If I task you to being able to handle like a Tamika Isaac Divine, she's got to be able to trust you. She's gonna have first trust me to allow me to help, to allow you to help her. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
that person has to be more than just a great resume. They have to be a people person. They got to be a person who doesn't mind leading and or standing behind the scenes. They got to be somebody versatile. They got to have, be able to think quickly on their feet. So there's a lot of different things that I look for someone that wants to join my team or be a part of or do some of the things that I'm doing, because a lot of people are like, how are you doing all of this? It's just in me. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of us, it's got to be something in you, that it factor that's going to
So,
help you succeed.
so would you say the four P's represent you? People,
Hmm.
purpose, power, and passion.
Yes. People over everybody. Servant leadership has got to be your watchword. You it, because I believe if you do enough for others, you'll get exactly what you need.
Okay.
That is divine laws of attraction. The secret is out, but that comes from serving others. So if you have a servant's heart, everything else will be added unto you, just like the kingdom, like the word says. But it's got to be in you.
Okay. So, with you, you a very unique person, and you're very intellectual, and you're very respectful when it comes to others. But what makes you respect someone's intellectual presence?
Mm. All of the above. some of the things that we talked about, them being able to, I'm a visionary, and again, nobody has to be like me, but I want somebody, what intrigues me is that they are committed and consistent into whatever they're doing. There's so many bosses, but I respect the ones who don't switch up. I respect the ones who have honed their talents. And like my business coach, Angela Carr Patterson would say, you got to go deep and then wide. So those people who are being committed and have been stick-wittable is my word. You've been sticking with what you have been promoting. You've seen it so many times where people call themselves entrepreneurs. They planning weddings. Now they teaching the class. They're all over the place where it doesn't reach back to the core. I'm not saying you can't be event planner, you can't teach, but does it reach back to the core of who you are, what you've been committed to, what you've been consistent at? So those are the people that spark my interest. Creative people who are doing exactly what they say they're going to do, and they keep reinventing themselves in those particular lanes. So those are the people I respect and I can glean to. I can, I'm looking for people that I can also learn from. They can be lateral, but they also people, you need to be looking at people who are doing it bigger and better than you. So my eyes are always on the next, onto the future. And so for people that catch my eye, like a Raquel, like a Tamika, like a Angela Carr Patterson, they're consistent. They're consistent in who they are. And those are the people who are more steady, who you can trust more in what they're going to say and glean after.
Okay. I can dig it. I can dig it. Very, 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 very good. Very good. So you teach as well, and from your teaching, as far as your your intel your intellectualness, your integrity, your wisdom, your knowledge. How does that stem from who you are? And when you're teaching, how do you cram that much literature in your brain and let it come off to the learners where it still piques their interest and they want to learn what you're talking about and want you to even give them more?
Yes. I think it's the passion. I'm very much passionate about what I'm talking about. So if you're before me and we're having a class, it's usually something I'm more passionate about. Again, I'm a visionary. So me being able to see you and beyond as you're talking to me about what your goals and your passions are, I immediately dream big for you in color. So my intellectual properties, I believe, stem from my grandparents, who my grandfather was the second Black high school principal in a segregated Swainsboro, then to become the first assistant superintendent of our county, who was supposed to be the first assistant superintendent, but due to uh, uh, racism and a lot of other things, he became the first assistant Black superintendent in Emanuel County. So I always knew I wanted to teach. I love social studies. I love Georgia history. Shout out to my favorite teacher, who's now retired, Miss Gail. But so history and teaching has always been in me. I used to teach invisible kids in my house, so it was that deep. But then it materialized into something else, which was business. Me talking about how teaching ladies and gentlemen, how do you create multiple streams of income? How do you get to that figure that you're looking for so that you can sustain your livelihood and your family? So I believe that I come with a different secret sauce. Everybody has a secret sauce. And mine is staying in my lane and being passionate and being able to talk about those things that have been beneficial to me. I can't speak on what I haven't experienced. And a lot of people do that, try to, talk too fast when you haven't even made it to that milestone. I like to talk about the things that I've done, things, my receipts that you can pull up so I can show you. Then I'm still in that work of I'm still in the work of art. I'm still being molded and trained, but I can tell you about where I've been. So I become real passionate. And right now my students are waiting for me. When is the next class? When is the next class? Like, I got to get it together because they need it as well. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about others being successful. So when I'm teaching, it just flows. It just flows. It comes out, and I think that makes our conversations more engaging, and them wanting to either hire me for something further or wanting more.
All right, all right, all right. You heard it first, Shayna Boston, the Chatterbox with King Jacob. We will be back momentarily. Stay tuned for more important messages.
Shout out to the men that just came home from jail and said no matter what the circumstances is, I'm never going back. Shout out to the men that said I'm tired of neglecting my children. I'm stepping up and being a man for my children, teaching them morals, honor, responsibility. Shout out to the men that say, you know what, I'm tired of sleeping on that couch. I'm tired of using my mother. I'm tired of using that girl. I'm going to step up and be a man for me. Shout out to the men that just graduated from college or going to college. Shout out to the men that graduated from trade school. Shout out to the men that say, yo, I'm just tired of being tired and I need to make a change. Shout out to the men that stayed there, that's raising their children. Shout out to the men that's getting married or want to stay married. Shout out to the men that's taking care of children that's not biologically theirs. Shout out to the men that's trying to figure it out. Shout out to the men because you are a beautiful soul. Shout out to the men that's just being a part of everybody's life to make a change, man. Stop the violence.
Shout out to the men. Yeah, that's my brother B. McFly out of Philadelphia, community activist, man, that, you know, used to be with the street culture, got out and started his nonprofit and is really working hard to clean up the streets of Philadelphia, man. So shout out to him. We definitely need, sisters and brothers like himself to really go in the trenches, because a lot of times if we're not in the trenches, then they feel like we literally don't understand. So
Exactly. And that's been part of my grind too. That's why you got to meet people where they are. I was telling people on the road, listen, I'm gonna meet you at the club all the way to the pulpit. You got to be able to speak a versatile language.
right. Of course you do. So we're gonna get into community development, charity, and nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would like for you to chime in on that, you know, since you do have a nonprofit and you really look at the things of the community development, you know, from the budgeting, from the school system, you know, from the lack of parents being at the school boards meetings and all the above. So I know those are all things that you really look at.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our 501(c)(3)s and our community involvement is the heartbeat of all communities. And because they're going to tap in and do the work that other systems, your school systems aren't doing, your law enforcement aren't doing, your municipalities aren't doing. Somebody has to be thoughtful in regards to who is touching the community. And that's why Fearlessly for People of Emanuel County, to me, is so important. Well, Fearlessly for People of District 23, that's the new name, is so important because the succession plan has to be put in place. I'm running against a 75-year-old man. Not that he's incompetent or any of those things, but it tells me that even he doesn't have the next person lined up to pass the baton to. What are we doing? Are we just holding positions? Are we just holding, seats at the table to hoard them for your individual good? Versus who are you training up to hold that seat next? So that's why it's important that we have this soft skills training in regards to as minute as how to look at someone in the eye when you're talking to them. Young men, how to tie a tie, how to write a resume, how to show up in the room, how to work a room, how to look the part, how to dress for success and where you're going. Those things are seen small, but they add up to such a huge equation of how successful, how you're going to be perceived in the world. So that's one sector. So education has so many different legs from in all different age groups, because what I'm talking about is ranging from 5th grade all the way up to adulthood. People in their 50s and 60s who want to revitalize their lives or be something different or become those servant leaders. So we don't even have enough 501(c)(3)s in my community. It's about 2 to 3 that's working in with that people that look like me. And so by, being tapped into state senate, that will give me privy to more information as to more funds available, as to what organizations that we can pool our resources together and become, be the thing that our community needs. So community development, we got to get more people involved. And one thing that we're running into in my community is only the same 5 showing up. We stretched out. So we need help on other people who are just as capable as us. They just haven't stepped up to the plate to secure, say, hey, and stand in this space. Hey, I'm gonna help do this. You help do that. So I think that, some people get into it for the wrong reasons, and that's why it fizzles out.
Uh-huh.
Not that it's not happening, but they get into it for the wrong reasons without having servant leadership in mind first. And that's what causes some of these programs to fizzle out. So I'm a huge advocate for our community groups and creating more of them. But it also stems back to business. People don't understand business. How do I form a 501(c)(3)? What's all involved? A lot of those things are the first barriers that stop people as well, because they don't understand the process. When I tell you, hey, we can form a 501(c)(3) in 5 minutes. Now, the federal designation, that's different. But you would have your 501(c). So getting people to jump, getting people to, just take the risk of putting themselves out there to help. We just need more of. So it's important. So that's the thing that I'm advocating in District 23. Where are community leaders? What are we doing? How are we showing up for how are we being the assistant to the municipalities? Because if you're not working together, there's another gap. So getting that transparency and communication between the community leaders and the municipalities is important.
Okay, great. So we have, I think it's Miss Shonda Stokes King tapping in.
Yes, hey Shonda, that's one of my best friends.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining us. So let's talk about a few programs that a lot of people may not be familiar with. The Future Homeowners of America, the Future Business Leaders of America, and USDA, and I would say FFA, Future Farmers of
Rich
America.
farmers. Mm-hmm.
Right. So when it comes to the agriculture, and when it comes to black women and black men, especially black women, black and brown women, when it comes to the agriculture grants, when it comes to if they go to Clemson University and they are agriculture major, they give them they have a program where you can get $75,000 to start and 10 acres of land to start. As long as you represent agriculture and you represent the agriculture as a black woman, because it's only 2% of black women doing agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's only 4 to 5% of black males doing agriculture, when it used to be for the women, it used to be 37%, and for the men it was 58%. So in your eyes, what has happened to when we ate from the earth, and why did it stop?
Well, I'm sure it has a historical value behind it as well. Being first not educated, I'll be the first to tell you that's one of the things that I'm learning on this campaign. I have no agricultural bone in my body, but I'm learning, as to
I can teach you.
Okay. And see, and that's the thing. You got to be willing to learn and listen. So, but I know broadband is a huge problem for our farmers down here in rural Georgia, because they need the internet. They need cell towers to run their equipment. And that's one of the major things that we want to push and get more of down in rural Georgia. Even just being able to utilize your phone on these back roads. What if something happens? You need to be able to reach out to somebody and get in contact with them. But our involvement with agriculture and these different areas is because we haven't been exposed to it. I tell people all the time, you can't expand to what you have not been exposed to. So again, being a servant leader or a change agent and trying in a space is you've got to lend yourself to some areas that you're uncomfortable with or don't have any experience with. And so I think we have a great opportunity to raise those numbers up, especially home ownership. One of my other jobs, I work for a mortgage company as well. And one of the things, our mandates is to get our black owned, get more black people in homes, Latinos, veterans, and gay pride from the gay pride community. So we have to be fixated or focused on making sure these particular opportunities thrive, because there are so many low numbers in those areas. So for future business, so teaching generational wealth, understanding home ownership is paramount to everything that we're talking about, the foundation of the families we want to create, to have succession and to have generational wealth. So for me, I think is that we need more people, which is, it could also be a community thing. We need more people educating us on what our opportunities are in the agricultural field. What our opportunities are for home ownership. I put on one of my colleagues in Augusta. We did a home ownership training down here in Swainsboro. So we're trying to expose more people so that they can expand to the thought that yes, you can be a homeowner. Yes, you can do it with imperfect credit. So it's a lot of different avenues that we can explore, but we need people to help us to be able to expand to it. So those are another thing that I want to do, is bring those people into our communities who can help us do that.
So, people of the Emanuel district, where Miss Boston is from, I tell you this right here. She's black and brown. She looks like us. She's trying to change the narrative. She's trying to go and get laws changed that's been in place for the last 100 years that has did nothing but sit there. She's trying to go and reevaluate the bills that's been sitting there. And it gives me a great honor, great pleasure to have her on this platform. And, we talked about her journey as a administrative assistant, legal secretary, virtual assistant. She worked with her dad doing insurance, so she really understands the cash value and how you can pull the money out your insurance plan to start 2-3 different businesses if you had the insurance plan for the last 15 years. And it's so many jewels that she can drop if you get to know her. Now she does have a 501c3, and so I just want to share something with you about this $32 billion that the government has right now out in grant money. So the type of grants that they have right now is government grants, foundation grants, corporate grants, regular nonprofit grants, research grants, and educational grants. $32 billion that the government has in the Federal Reserve for the grant money. And they want business owners and entrepreneurs to tap in. And so you're talking about maybe getting $3 million to start a STEM school,
A
a
business
science,
incubator.
yes, a science, technology, economics, and math type
Yes.
school with the emphasis on performing arts elements. So you need 1 million for the cafeteria, 1 million for the classrooms, 1 million for the dormitory, and another million to pay the teachers. That's $4 million out of 32 billion. So it's definitely there for you,
Possible. Yes.
Yes. So and I just want to say that it's so many things that we can do together if we move in unison. But we have to move in unison. You know, um, Miss Boston can't say this, that, other than the third when she has no backing. Like she can't change the narrative by herself. So you guys have to go out and help her, and embrace her, and so I just want to put my 2 cents in there. You know what I mean? just to let them know, no, I'm not in the state of Georgia, but I see what she's trying to do. I see the power, passion, and the purpose of her trying to change the narrative for upliftment and betterment for the lives of others. And so, I just wanted to give you your flowers. That's all. That's all.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I accept them. Thank
No
you.
doubt.
Thank you. And I
No.
appreciate you in helping me do just that. But us having this conversation, somebody will hear about it, somebody will donate, somebody will make it happen so we can further the goal. We're just soldiers in this army of trying to make life better for everybody. And I just want to do my part to help you succeed, him succeed, her succeed, and then pass the baton.
Right. So, as far as zoning, when it comes to the babies that's being born, when it comes to the children in the intermediate years, the children in their teenage years, and with them becoming adults, and when it comes to the adults and the elderly, what do you see that needs to be changing as far as zoning, as far as living conditions, school systems, um, as far as construction?
Yeah. It's a lot of things, especially here in rural Georgia, that needs to be changed. Just getting our roads paved is a, a main thing here in Emanuel County. But we have powerful, and we're putting people on re-electing or electing city officials and county officials who are ready to do the work. And that's why I tell you that it's so important that we have the right people sitting at the table, because we've had the wrong people sitting at the table and we've been stagnated. Nothing is happening. There's been no change. And they've been holding positions for 20 to 30 years plus. So as we began to make changes and put people in position who are actually moving, we can see some things happening. Meaning communicating, just as simple as communicating is what's going on at the city to the people in your district. That makes the world of difference. And so that we can understand how it works, first of all. Secondly, we have someone that we can talk to that represents us and is going to tell us the truth and keep it 100. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So just what those two things make everything else that you're talking about that more easier to get done and to understand, so people can voice their opinion. And because at the end of the day, you're an elected official, but by the people. So when the people talk, then talking to the municipalities, we can move things further faster. So gerrymandering, district and school zones and all these different things, higher pay for teachers, all of these things matter, but it doesn't matter if no one is talking about it, which is like you said, I need help. The people that are in position who are willing to do the work need help because they can't push that narrative by themselves. So that's why, it's important that, some of the things we were talking about doing, city councilman Quantavious Foster, that we're putting in position, we got to have these town hall meetings. So where that official can know exactly firsthand, okay, what is going on in your neighborhood? What are you saying as it pertains to safety, public safety? How are you feeling safe? The roads, what schools do your children go to? Are they getting, what they need? What's going to happen in the summertime? All of those different things has to be assessed and then addressed. But it all goes back to our officials, because we can scream to the top of our lungs, we need this, that, and the other. But if you're not talking to your representative who can help push that narrative, because our community needs it, it's going to fall on deaf ears. So that's why, again, I don't mind standing up or saying, hey, this is what's going over here. I don't mind, being seen or misjudged when I'm trying to do the betterment for the people. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it all drives back to, who are we electing? Because if they're not speaking up as they should, that's the problem. There's nothing more that we can do outside of putting somebody else in office. But that usually means we got to wait 4 years. We got to wait 2 years. You get what I'm saying? So it goes back to your local leaders and making sure you people are voting. If not voting, you running for a position. And that you're not scared, because I'm not perfect. I ain't gonna be. I'm gonna make some mistakes. I'm gonna make some more. But we need more people willing me, unworthy individuals who want to step up in the gaps for everybody else. So that's what we need more of. Who are we electing? And are you talking to your elected official? Are you just voting and that's it? That's what usually happens. I'm voting, that's it. But then they complain. But you haven't been a part of the conversation or the solution.
Right. Okay. So you said a mouthful. You said a lot for anyone to process, but it's still an eye opener. So with you running for Senate, and you will win. I'm gonna go ahead and speak to this. You will win.
That's right.
I do want to know something from you because you're a very sharp individual, right? So, what would you want to change when you read the curriculum and you read the bills and you read the laws when it comes to the Department of Education for the state of Georgia?
Change would be, we got to pay our teachers. We got to protect and pay our teachers. Again, that was my first foundation, education. Come from a family of educators. Educators often are so passionate in what they're doing that the pay becomes second. But these are the same people that's got to train the next doctor, that has trained the next surgeon, that has trained the next orthopedic, or whatever profession. It starts there. So we have got to respect and pay our teachers. So that is one of the things that I would be looking into. Making sure that the money that we putting aside, that we have for public school, isn't diverted over to private schools if you decide not to go there. We shouldn't be taking away from our public schools. We should be building them up. And then also, I would also make sure that our communities, those 501(c)(3)s that we're talking about, are partnered with our education systems. Because why? I'm over here teaching in the summertime etiquette classes to these middle schoolers and high schoolers of how to speak, how to look at each other in the eye, how to tie a tie. That's not happening in your regular curriculum in the school. So imagine if we partner together, how much more refined, how much more aware and exposed our kids would be. So we've got to incorporate, in my opinion, some unorthodox training, non-traditional educational training, along with those foundations that they're going to get in the traditional curriculum. So merging the two, making coming to work for these teachers more than a passion. They can actually feed their families like they want to. They can actually go on great vacations in the summertime, and so that they're rested and they're ready to come back to work in August. So you got to feed the horse. You got to feed the horse. I've always believed that. You got to feed the horse, and that's making sure they are comfortable. They're safe, because we have to deal with, with shooters and things like that may happen. So they're trained on how to do that. Even if it's not affecting us, we need to be able to be trained on how to handle certain situations, because they're literally risking their lives every day. They literally spend most of the time with our kids during the school day than us. So we have got to patronize our teachers. We have got to make them feel comfortable, because they're going to get higher degrees and things of that nature. We want them to come back to our communities, because Swainsboro's rural, oftentimes they leave here and go off to Atlanta or Columbia or somewhere else. We got to be attracting them back home. So, and the only way to do that is make sure they can feed their families better than they have been, that they have housing and they have amenities around them that's going to keep them in town. So we got to talk to the psyche of the teacher, who is a human being first. So if we do that, that's one of the main tickets I'm trying to change, is making sure our teachers, our education system is intact. Because once we get that foundation, we can do anything. We're gonna produce the next president. We're gonna produce whoever we decide, because we put that attention where it belongs.
Right. Exactly. You made a very right point. You said a mouthful once again. I would like to say this right here, what I think about the education and medical field. I have a few friends from the country Norway, and what they have told me, and we've discussed this, now that they live in America, and they asked me, well, Jacob, why doesn't America pay their educators and the people in the medical field? But don't you think that they should be paid by your government? Because if you do the background when somebody become a nurse, if you do the background when somebody become a teacher, they have a statewide background check and a governmental background check. So why shouldn't the government play them? Why shouldn't that should be a government job? And so I just wanted to see how you felt about that, about the medical field and the educational field being a government job.
Well, technically, yeah, they state jobs right now. The teachers they typically work for your county and your state. They get state benefits. I don't know about government, but it's worth the option. I need to see the pros and the cons. And what do the teachers think? Because we can't leave them out of the equation. We have got to hear what are their thought processes. How do they see it? You get what I'm saying? Because there's no need for us to make decisions at the top without talking to the people who's got to execute, who's got to be with these kids. So for me, I'm always going to do the research. I'm always going to ask the questions, do the survey to the people who is going to directly affect. So before I say, yeah, we should do X, Y, Z, I want to talk to them. I want to know what their thought process is, and them knowing the pros and cons of choosing said route.
Well, I did ask her why do they do that, and she told me why. She said, well, first of all, a teacher is education, so they shape the kid for the world to become the next doctor, lawyer, as you just said, brain surgeon, the next person that gives a heart transplant, and operates on so. It was like in that sense, the educators are saving the world. You know what I mean, through wisdom and knowledge. And for the medical field, they are preparing the world so we can have more people existing in the world when they get sick. And so she said from that reason, for both of them, that's why their government chose to have that those two occupations, and the government paid educators and people that's in the medical field. So I thought that was very interesting. And
it is interesting. I definitely love to explore, read more on that as well, because you're right. These are the people who train the trainers, if that makes sense. I mean, literally, they are training the trainer. So it's going to be important that we look at different models, be open to different models so that we can get the best of the best, because we got to still recruit people into the field. Why do you want to be a doctor? Why should you be a teacher? And pay is going to be one of the reasons that deters them. Is it worth it? You get what I'm saying? So we want to match their passion with their pay. Matching passion and pay within reason. And we would try to expound, what that looks like and makes more sense to do.
Okay. No doubt. Now, we are about out of time. So what I would like to do, and it's been a very, 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 very intellectual, great conversation. And I'm just so grateful to have you on. And I just want you to tell everybody, where they can find you at, and tell them about some of your up and coming endeavors that you have.
Yes. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I'm Shayna Boston. I am the handler, the behind the scenes queen of District 23. I am running to be your next state senator. And I'm excited. I hope that you can see my passion. I hope that you can see that I'm serving with a servant's heart for the betterment for all people over politics. And the way that you can constantly connect with me is on social media, and of course through my website, ShaynaBoston.com. I need y'all to donate, because why? I got 6 months to run. The numbers that came in today, which is primary day, have been amazing. For me to have not been, doing a whole lot of promotion and things of that nature, I have been doing the grind. I'm going to continue to grind. I'm going to continue to work and meet people where they are, wherever you are. So if you want me in these the 11 counties to come out and speak to you personally, it would be my honor and pleasure. But please know that you sending someone to the Georgia State Capitol who has you in mind first. People over politics. I want to bring about change, so that you can see, touch, and feel. So please support my campaign. Follow me on social media at Shayna Boston for Senate on Instagram and TikTok, and Facebook. And of course, go to my website to learn more information, as our kickoff for the campaign will happen mid-July, and other things that's going to be coming to pass that we'll be sharing on social media and my website. Thank you so much for your time, attention, and consideration for your vote for Shayna for Senate 2024.
All right, you heard it first on the Chatterbox with K. Jacob. We want to thank all of you for coming on and tapping in with us. Thank you for the people that joined, and thank you for people just supporting Miss Shayna Boston movement. Your support is greatly appreciated, and thank you for tuning in with the Chatterbox. Peace, blessings, and love, and most of all, keep striving for excellence because God got a plan for everybody.
It does. Thank you, everybody.
Peace.